So our theme again is spectrum. And Joel and Allyson decided to take this in a little bit different of a light maybe than other people would choose, which I'm super excited for. So for one, we're here live in person, and we haven't done this since February, I think was like our last in-person event. But because they're my friends and because I'm a brand ambassador, I wanted to be here with them 6 feet away and do this as close to in person as possible. Just a different vibe when you're here live, you know? So they're gonna be talking more on the emotional side of their journey as co-owners of Sightsee and like 15 other businesses. And we're super jazzed to hear from them. Anything you guys want me to say specifically to introduce you, or do you just wanna like take it away? They're just gonna take it away. So we are coming to you live from Line Street in front of Sightsee, and we've got Allyson Sutton and Joel Sadler, and they're gonna take it away for us this morning.
All right.
Hey.
Y'all, this is awesome.
Hopefully y'all can hear us okay. We're outside and there's like leaf blowers and cars driving behind us, but hang with us.
There are so many people on here that we desperately want to see and hug in person.
I know. Speaking of emotions, we'll get into the theme a little bit more, but I could cry. I'm so happy.
I know it. Well, I'm Joel.
I'm Allyson.
Yeah, we are the co-owners of, that'll come up again, of Sightsee, what we frequently tell folks is a travel-inspired retail shop and coffee bar here on Line Street. We have a very small team. I just want to give a shout out to Aaron and Susie, who are wonderful members of our team. They're inside making the magic happen right now while we're out here with y'all. And we're really we're feeling all of the emotions right now, getting a chance to talk to you. So I'll let Allyson kind of talk about what we're going to talk about.
Yeah. So when Christy and Sarah initially reached out to us about the theme of spectrum, it was probably back in February, which feels like 1974. It feels so long ago. And we always knew
that was pre-mustache.
Yeah, that was pre-mustache, pre-pandemic. And we always knew that we wanted to interpret the theme of spectrum in terms of the spectrum of emotions that we have experienced as small business owners. I think on a day-to-day basis, you know, we don't get as much of an opportunity to really peel back the curtain and share with people the roller coaster and the highs and lows that we experience. And we are big feelers of all the feels. I have diagnosed anxiety and Joel is bipolar, and so we feel everything very deeply.
Yeah.
And small business ownership certainly only amplifies that. So today we have decided to kind of take the color spectrum of Roy G. Biv and translate that into a spectrum of emotions. So we'll have a little visual aid to share with you as we go through the talk. But really our hope is that, you know, no matter what line of work you're in, if you own a small business, if you freelance, if you're an employee somewhere, that the insights that we share and sort of the vulnerabilities that we share, the real talk that we share today will help you hopefully be able to navigate whatever spectrum of emotions you might be experiencing, because this is certainly a time in the world where we're all feeling a lot. So I guess we'll just dive into our spectrum.
So on the Roy G. Biv spectrum, the R is rage. So we're gonna start out nice and light with rage.
Just kicking it off on a real high note, y'all. I think for this one, I'll speak specifically to my experience, which maybe won't be a surprise to any of my family watching my ragey Aries energy. But honestly, nothing is more enraging as a female than being assumed to not be the owner. I think we all generally want to feel valued, and when people assume that I am not the co-owner, that I'm an employee, or we've had people come into our shop and literally talk over me to Joel and say like, hey man, is this your shop? This is so cool. Or they'll come in and ask me like, oh, how long have you worked here? This is such a cute little space. And then I have to say like, no, I'm the co-owner. And I think it's, you know, especially challenging because Joel just happens to be louder and more like effusive than I am. So
Yeah.
I have to really like prove that I am also equally as much of an owner of this business as you are.
Yeah.
Which can be infuriating because we put a lot of our time and energy into running this business. So any women business owners, or really women in general watching this, that probably resonates with you. Justifying your value and your place in the world.
It makes me upset too. It's not, I don't
just
like
a little less ragey than me, maybe.
As a Capricorn, I just allow that rage to simmer inside and wait 4 or 5 months for it to explode. Yeah. It's no big deal.
Yeah, so next on the Roy G. Biv spectrum, we have O.
Which is a little brighter. We got Optimism. And the thing that we've learned is that optimism is a decision. It's not just like a thing that lands on you. You have to be deliberate and take positive situations and make them cause for optimism in the future. And when I think back on Sightsee, there are a lot of days where we have to draw pretty deep into our optimism tank to get through it. And one of the things just that we want to share about early on is we're celebrating right now approximately 12 months in business, 6 of which have been without people coming into the shop during the pandemic. But we think back to when we first launched, we had this idea for Aloha Fridays, where every one Friday a month, folks would gather at the shop, we'd have some event. And our very first one was with Olipop sodas, which is one of our favorite products that we carry, and with Off Track ice cream, and we did floats, and it was just this like, we thought, we had this vision in mind when we opened of what the Sightsee experience could be, and to be there seeing a bunch of people there of all ages and just enjoying themselves and being part of this thing that we created. It was just like, wait, this might work. This could actually work out. This crazy idea could work out. And there have been a number of moments along the way like that, that on the dark days, we remind ourselves that there is cause for optimism, and we've seen it at points along the way, and just to keep hanging on when otherwise the immediate moment is cause for pessimism. We remind ourselves to decide to remain optimistic.
For sure. Yeah, you have to have hope that everything is going to work out. Work hard at it, but having some amount of optimism will keep you going through the ragey moments.
Yeah. And through the Y, the ROY, we've got yearning. Is the Y here on our spectrum?
Yeah. So this, I think, is a challenging thing for probably everyone, no matter what business you're in, what you do for work. Longing for more and having this vision for where you want your business to be and where you want it to go, and feeling like every single day you're incapable of doing enough to get you to the next point that you're trying to get to. And it can be especially hard when you see other businesses locally, or like we'll see other brands that we have followed and admired for a long time having this sort of next level of success, or something amazing happens for them, and the sort of natural inclination to compare yourself to their success and what they've achieved, and to really yearn to be there.
Yeah.
But a business is definitely a marathon, not a sprint. And one piece of advice that I learned from another business owner is that I try to reference when I really feel that sense of yearning and comparison. Sorry, there's a siren. Is to not judge your beginning based off of someone else's middle. Everybody has to start somewhere, and so I try to keep that in the back of my mind when I really feel myself sort of devolving into that cycle of comparison and yearning. Just knowing that things take time and we're going to get there, and there might be someone out there who's judging their beginning on the beginning that we have right now. We started as a pop-up a couple of years ago, and there could be other pop-up brands out there who are looking at our brick and mortar and having that same kind of feeling. So it's totally natural, but trying to keep in mind that we all got to start somewhere.
Yeah, and that usually if someone is talking about their business, it's because they're at the success story end of the business where they have achieved something, and that is not us. This is very much like reporting to you live on location in a war zone. In the hurricane.
We don't know what we're doing, is what he's saying.
Yeah, but it doesn't stop us from looking at all these people that.
Yeah.
I mean, to be honest, if you talk to them, they probably would say the exact same thing. There's always some next level that you just wish you were at, that you see some other brand appear to be at.
Yeah.
That's yearning.
Then we've got the G in Roy G. Biv, and this is a big one for us. I don't know if y'all can see this. Gratitude.
Oh, man.
Is our G.
Yeah, I think of all of the words on the spectrum of emotions that we've created, and when we think back on all the things that we have felt so far along the way and have felt on any individual day, nothing is more profound for us than gratitude. We just feel this tremendous gratitude that we get to do this. I mean, it's exhausting and all of that, but just every day that we get to wake up and Sightsee is our life's work right now is something that we are extremely thankful for. And then also you just don't understand how thankful we are to be a part of y'all's lives. That everybody that comes to the shop, that you would want us to be part of your day, means a tremendous amount to us. We've had customers get pregnant, and then we've met the baby. They've adopted puppies that we get to pet.
That's
yeah, it's really more about the puppies than anything else. And
those kids are fine.
Yeah, they don't respond as well to treats.
Yeah, it's true though. I think that that feeling of gratitude that we have created a space that is part of people's lives, and we've been a spot where, when someone's parents or best friends are visiting town, they bring them here into our shop, or customers who have moved away and Sightsee is their last stop in Charleston before they hit the road out of town. Those moments are so special to us, and being part of people's lives who otherwise would have been strangers, and now we have this whole community. That's so incredible, and the gratitude for that definitely keeps us going.
Yeah, it really does. It really does.
A good segue
to be
the next color emotion.
So Roy G. Biv B is burnt out. Burnt out.
Yeah. Joel was saying, we were talking about this the other day, and he was saying it's kind of like we've lit the candle at both ends and lit it in the middle, and then tried to maybe add some wicks to it, and bought some new candles too, and now everything's just on fire.
Yeah,
The level of exhaustion that you feel as a small business owner is intense, because it's everything. It's our creativity, it's our mental energy, it's our heart and soul. It's making sure that our two employees feel taken care of. It's realizing that we've run out of cups, or we did wrong. We made a mistake. We're constantly making mistakes.
Oh, man.
And you can't really turn it off. I mean, we're always sort of thinking about it, which is exhausting, thrilling, but exhausting.
Yeah.
And another thing that folks may not know is that both Joel and I also do freelance work on top of running Sightsee and have a couple other little side businesses. And so we'll work a full day at the shop, get up at 6:30, get here at 7:30, work a full day, and then get home and either work on our freelance work or work on like all the online stuff that can't happen while we're here, that has to happen at night. And it's certainly a grind and a hustle. And you get to a point where you just kind of have to like tell yourself to close the computer, make a Negroni.
Yes. I mean, dogs and cocktails basically is how Sightsee has made it to this
To summarize this talk.
And I think that pretty well brings us to the I on Roy G. Biv, which is it's just insane. That's all.
That's it.
You just feel crazy all the
You
time.
feel crazy.
You feel crazy for thinking it's going to work. You feel crazy because you can't remember anything. You also feel crazy that you think there's a pandemic and no one else does. You feel
Ooh,
you feel crazy.
Yeah, that's it. There's
Yeah.
nothing else to say.
And then
Insane.
I would say that brings us to the V.
And Roy G. Biv. And this is a real one. Vulnerable. Yeah, I mean, vulnerable in every sense of the
Every
word.
sense. You put you can take this one, I guess, but you put yourself out there, and you are in your dream is now on display for critique, for everything, and it's an extremely vulnerable position to be, particularly in a brick and mortar environment where people can come in and see it all and see you. And
which is our concept is a coffee bar and a retail store. So we interact with folks who maybe are used to like
those are different buckets.
Retail and hospitality can bring out the best in people, and it can bring out the worst in people, and we deal with it all.
Yeah.
And we open ourselves up for all of that and for criticism, and even people coming in and saying, have you thought about doing this, or you guys should do that. It's sort of a daily thing that we have to navigate, really putting ourselves out there. The brands that we carry are brands that we vouch for and care about. The coffees we bring in are coffees we vouch for. The stances that we take publicly are things that we care about. And that's how we want to operate our business. We're human beings, and we want to be vulnerable. We want to be relatable. We want to connect with our community. That's super important to us. So I think vulnerability can sometimes get a negative connotation, and it is certainly difficult, but it's also something that we want to infuse into how we operate. We want to be sort of an open book.
Yep.
Hence this conversation.
Yes. Case in point.
Yeah.
And so that is the spectrum of emotions. For those of you taking notes at home, we've got rage, optimism, gratitude.
No, you skipped Y.
Oh, yearning. Yearning, gratitude, burnt out, insane, and vulnerable is the Roy G. Biv of the Sightsee emotional spectrum.
Yeah.
And not to stop on that note, we wanted to kind of share a few things that we've learned to kind of navigate that spectrum of emotions. How is it that you can feel all of these things and keep going? How do you process that?
Hopefully share some insights that might be helpful to folks as you're navigating or riding a roller coaster of emotions in a way where you don't fall off.
Yeah.
So I think the first thing, and this one is a big one, is being really deliberate about your team and your culture. And I know that sounds like so businessy and corporate culture, but we are a small team, and we tried to be super deliberate and open and honest in the way that we hired our 2 employees, Erin and Susie, so that they knew that like this is a space where they can feel supported and valued and listened to. If they have constructive criticism to share with us, like we're in our first year of business, and we're all going to be learning together. We're all going to be making mistakes together. We're all going to be feeling all the feels. And so for them to know that like we're not the only ones who are allowed to like feel things. They are allowed to do that as well, and can have space to do that. Is a big one for us. It just kind of sets the tone that like on the bad days we're there to support each other, on the good days we're there to cheer for each other, and that makes a huge difference. Our team, we all get each other through.
Yeah, Aaron and Susie, who again are just 20 yards away from us inside the shop, are the greatest. We need them more than we allow them to know at times, because it would probably be too much. And then I think we did the Kindred Spirits. I think you should.
Okay. Another one that's been another thing that's been a huge help for us as we navigate this spectrum of emotions is finding kindred spirits who are kind of in the trenches with you, that can be a support system, people who can truly empathize. So this is a big shout out to our dear friends Jess and Eric, who own J Stark, a fellow married couple running a small business with a brick and mortar shop. They have been in there every day and feel all of these same feelings and then some, and having them as a sounding board and a support system and as mentors and friends has been truly a lifesaver. So I would say if you can find folks who are in your industry who can be there for you from, you know, a business mentorship perspective, but also just friends. Yeah, and
they have a dog too, which helps. That's important.
2 cats.
And also just a shout out to other small businesses that we've had the opportunity to be vulnerable with. I see Ink Meets Paper as well. Y'all have been we've had some very valuable conversations with you and other folks around town. But
that's huge.
Yeah, I think the next one is patience. Is one just it goes back to that not judging your beginning by somebody else's middle, but also it's amazing how many times you think this is going to be our big break or this is going to sink us forever. And you just have to wait. You can only make things go, but so fast. No matter how hard you push, no matter how hard you work, things just attention only comes, but at a certain pace. And there's a Zen story that if you just Google "we'll see Zen story," you can read it. But basically, the gist of it is, "we'll see" is the response, and that we just day after day, something will happen, or we'll forget something, or we'll try something that doesn't work, and it's just like, we'll see. Just keep going. This may work out. It may not. If it had rained today, we'll see. We'll figure that out. You know, we just everything. The importance of constantly reminding yourself to be patient is exhausting, but extremely critical.
Yeah, that's a difficult one for me. Again, my family watching this will know that I'm not a particularly patient person. So small business ownership is teaching me how to be a little bit more zen.
And then finally is gratitude. Again,
I think honestly everything truly goes back to that idea of gratitude, and you know, no matter how hard it gets, we always try to remind ourselves of those moments when people bring their family, or the kids that we've, you know, got to see, you know, starting to grow up, all the like events that we've had that people actually attended. Every single order for pickup coffee, like literally you guys think you're just ordering a coffee, but we're inside doing a happy dance.
Because there's the days where we're yearning that like we don't have more honestly, the fact that we have any at all is just like, it means, I don't know, that, yeah, the other thing with gratitude that I would want to say is just, we like genuinely love all of you. That if you have come to Sightsee, you have been noticed in some small way, and you matter, and we're thankful for you.
Unless you're the jerk who didn't think I was the owner, then
Yeah, that guy
sorry
can get out.
about you.
He's gone. Yeah, and your dogs.
Yeah. So
but yeah,
that's that. That's our spectrum and kind of how we navigate it, and the things that we try to remind ourselves on a daily and hourly basis.
Yeah. Yeah. As soon as we're done, we're gonna just get back to that list of things we told you about.
Yeah. So what do we do?
We're gonna need to do it for the rest of the day.
But we so appreciate Creative Mornings having us, and all of you waking up early and starting your Friday with us. It is such an honor. We know that there are a million other things you could have done at 8 a.m. on a Friday, like sleep.
Yeah.
So thank you. We really appreciate it.
Cheers to y'all.
Happy to answer any questions. Someone had asked something earlier. Sarah had asked, she said, is there anyone in your lives that helps with the self and business check-ins to remind you that you're probably further along than you feel? I touched on that.
Oh man, so Yvonne, we're sipping some Springbok coffee. Shout out to our local roaster right now. But Kate's question there, I'll let you take, because that's
for dealing with imposter syndrome / comparison. Woof.
Yeah.
That's a hard one. I am not a therapist, so I can't dole out any like real advice for that. I feel like, honestly, I mean, don't doom scroll on Instagram if you catch yourself like just getting sucked into that rabbit hole. I have tried to even like unfollow accounts that make me feel inadequate. I think that can be really toxic and really draining. So just being careful about like boundaries with how much time you're spending on social media and who you're following and what that brings into your life, because it's an energy suck, an emotional energy suck. So that's a big one. I feel like having cheerleaders, again, like other small business owners in our community and good friends who support us along the way, helps with that like reminder that we don't suck at everything.
Yeah. Yeah.
Someone says, I remember your Kickstarter tips on how to successfully complete one. Oh man, we have so many.
Yeah, that's
tips.
That's a whole talk on Kickstarter.
If you are ever thinking about doing a Kickstarter or a crowdfunding campaign, we actually have a bunch of resources that we'd be happy to share. So you can reach out to us through Instagram or email through our website, and we would love to share all of those insights, because there is definitely a strategy to do it and to have a successful campaign. I mean, on top of that, that again comes back to gratitude and having an amazing community that was willing to support our campaign. We still like pinch ourselves that happened, but there are strategies that you can put in place in terms of like the reward tiers that you have and the content that you share, having a great compelling Kickstarter video. So if you're ever thinking about that, please reach out. What did you do prior to owning your own business, and what has motivated you to start your own business?
Oh man, we both kind of come from, in the recent years prior to Sightsee, from what I would say broadly is the startup and entrepreneurship world. And so I had a startup in the digital advertising space prior to Sightsee, and Allyson was prior to the kind of one of the founding members and director of marketing for a startup co-working space up in Raleigh, and works with a lot of startups on brand strategy and writing now. And so that's kind of starting things and being part of that beginning stages is where we we had a vision of a place that we enjoyed going to in other cities that didn't exist in Charleston, and we decided that we just wanted to be part of what we call the Fingerprint of Charleston. The people, when they think of Charleston, we wanted to be one of the things that makes up that mosaic, and it was a retail store, coffee bar combination that we wanted to bring something unique and different that creates a different experience here. And that was what motivated us and kind of we just decided this is what we're going to do, because if we don't do this 20 years from now, we're just going to wish we had. And we're going to wonder if we could have. And so it was just time to do it.
I will say on top of that, Joel is probably more of the natural risk taker. Entrepreneurship is like, I feel like really in your DNA, and I'm a little bit more cautious and and a little bit more risk averse. And so throughout the whole process of building this business, we've kind of done it in phases, which again sort of goes back to running startups, sort of if you're familiar with the lean startup methodology, or like doing beta testing kind of thing in tech. So that we did pop-ups to sort of test the concept in a really lightweight way that didn't require a lot of money, because we're not independently wealthy. So we literally bought a kitchen cart and just started popping up in other shops around town, and that was a great way to sort of test things out, make some mistakes, learn from those mistakes, start building community, which again was super helpful for our Kickstarter, having some familiarity with the concept. And then opening our shop in a small space, and sort of learning and evolving as we continue to grow. So that's been helpful for me as like a more risk averse person.
And no, it's kind of, Sarah, your question there just quickly about lattes and coffee. We could talk about this for a while, but we didn't do lattes because it's too expensive. We didn't have money to buy an espresso machine, and so we just did coffee. And that was part of just incrementally spending as little money as possible to learn as much as we could, and then spending more money as we got greater confidence in what we had learned along the way. Oh my gosh. Well, y'all, I mean,
any other questions?
I at least, I will talk all day. They're going to have to pull me off of the camera, but.
Joel's just going to be sitting out here until noon. If you come by the shop, he's still sitting on an empty Zoom.
But yeah, that's us. And we're thankful to be here talking to you, and we're thankful for every day that we get to do something like Sightsee.
Thank you so much, guys. I think everyone is just showing so much love in the chat room right now. If you guys can read through that.
Yeah, thank you.
And I hope you know that your brick and mortar makes a difference in a lot of people's lives here in Charleston. So keep it up. We appreciate you.
This was so special. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, y'all.
Any final thoughts? You want to bring some people? I guess you guys are open inside, one person at a time now.
Yeah, and I think the thing to share is that this marks a full year in this little shop right here, and so rather than have one big event that we risk, a lot of people in close proximity, over the course of October, every Sunday morning, we're going to do a little pop-up. So we'll have a food vendor and a maker or florist. So stay tuned for that schedule. But every single Sunday in October, we'll have a little thing going on here in the patio to help celebrate making it 1 year in.
We did it.
Congratulations.
Thanks.
It's been a whirlwind of a year.
I hope that we can see a lot of you at some of these patio pop-ups coming up.
And wear a mask.
For the love of God.
Keep one handy.
Love y'all.
Love you.
Thanks, guys.
Yep.
Bye.
All right, so we've got a few announcements.